Why does it feel like so many people are overlooking and counting out the Kansas City Chiefs this upcoming season? Olympus has fallen. The empire has came crashing down. The dynasty is over. The Chiefs don't have it anymore. They've lost their sauce. They've been figured out, right? The list goes on and on and on. We hear all of these different things about the Chiefs. And I could not disagree more. Because if we know anything about the Chiefs under Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, this is a unit that can never be counted out. Ever. Never, ever, ever, ever. And coming off of a season to where they missed the postseason in what was a rather embarrassing season, I understand that Patrick Mahomes got hurt towards the tail end of the year, right? We'll have to see how he bounces back. I assume he'll probably miss at least a couple games at the start of the year, right? Something that we're obviously going to have to pay attention to is his status. But I have no doubt in my mind that Patrick Mahomes is going to bounce back in a major way. The minute the injury basically happened, it felt like this dude was off the field and getting an operation done to start working towards the 2026 season. Mahomes always plays with a chip on his shoulder. I have zero doubt in my mind that he is going to bounce back in a major way. Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks we have ever seen. And as long as he is playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, they always have a shot. And I understand that a lot of the concerns, right, it has to do with the offensive side of the ball, right? And if you're going to start off the season without, your franchise quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, that's concerning. But I feel like the good news and something that I reacted to as soon as the news broke was the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs traded the Jets for Justin Fields. Now, I know when you hear the name Justin Fields, a lot of people, they might think of a couple things, right? Kind of a broken prospect, a guy that's shown flashes, or a guy that's really just a backup. But when I look at Justin Fields, a guy that is still very, very young in his career, had some success in Chicago, things kind of fizzled out, went to New York, and I mean, how many quarterbacks over the past several years have really had success playing for the Jets? Not many. And now you send a very talented and dynamic young quarterback in Justin Fields to Kansas City to work alongside Andy Reid, be in the same quarterback room as Patrick Mahomes, and also they've brought back Eric Bieniemy to run the offense and be a part of the offense, right, alongside Andy Reid, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But just because Mahomes may miss a few games, and like I said, we'll have to see what his status is as we get closer to the year, but Justin Fields is a competent quarterback, man. He's a guy that can come in and give you at least a couple good games. He's very, very athletic. Right, being around Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, you mean to tell me that this isn't one of the best things that's ever happened to Fields in his entire football career? I think that this may open up a huge door for Justin Fields to come in and, be around those offensive minds and put out some great performances. He's going to be motivated to do so. Because then that can kind of be his ticket towards maybe getting another shot at being a starter in the league. But Justin doesn't have to do it all himself. Right, they brought back Eric Bieniemy, and historically, with EB in Kansas City, the Chiefs' offense was much more consistent and a lot more productive. It's not that Matt Nagy didn't do, a great job. I think he did an okay job. Andy Reid's, kind of the wizard behind the offensive side of the ball, but I felt like a lot of that too was Eric Bieniemy when he was there. And now he comes back. You signed Kenneth Walker in free agency. Right now, I'd been, screaming from the rooftops for the Chiefs. They need a physical downhill runner to attack in between the gaps, bludgeon defenses, wear them down, get in between the tackles, be a physical football team. And I've been saying for a while, it felt like, when you were watching Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and, 5 Super Bowl appearances, 3 rings, like, the greatness of the Chiefs under Mahomes and Andy Reid, like, it just can't be denied. They've been fantastic. But whenever you have a down year and you miss the playoffs and you go from here to here, it's like, well, what's going on there? The Chiefs are going to bounce back in a big way. And that to me started by bringing in Justin Fields to have a guy that you know has starting experience. You surround him with dynamic offensive weapons, a very good offensive line. You bring in a physical back that just won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks and Kenneth Walker, who's an absolute beast. You have dynamic playmakers out on the perimeter. You have Travis Kelce at tight end. You've added pieces all over the place, man. Like the Chiefs defense, to me, I feel like this might be one of the best defenses that they've had in a while. And you have one of the best defensive minds in the history of the league, in my opinion, in Steve Spagnuolo. So you have Andy Reid, who's an all-time great offensive mind, an all-time great defensive mind in Steve Spagnuolo, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it in Patrick Mahomes, which he will be back at some point. Travis Kelce, an all-time great tight end. One of the best defensive players in the league in Chris Jones, and people are just counting this team out. They're just down and out. The Olympus has fallen. The dynasty's over. The empires came crashing in. And, it's like when the Patriots had Brady Belichick and they went on, they had all this success, and it just kind of fizzles out, and eventually it falls apart. I don't believe that's the case with the Chiefs. That's not why Travis Kelce's coming back. That's not why Patrick Mahomes was so motivated to start recovering and getting ready for the season. They're coming back with a vengeance, man. They're coming back with a vengeance, right? And they've made the necessary moves, adding young talent on the defensive side of the ball. I understand that they traded Trent McDuffie to the Rams, got some extra draft capital. The Chiefs had an outstanding draft, man. I feel like their defense is going to be really, really good once again. They're going to be able to be a physical football team at the point of attack, having a much bigger emphasis on the run game, because for a while it felt like the Chiefs were just trying to be this showman team, right? Where it was like, I was saying it was like the Golden State Warriors in their golden day, right? You had Durant, you had, Curry and Thompson. It's just like you're getting hit from all these angles with all the splash plays, right? The threes from downtown and everything's so flashy and there's all this winning going on. That's kind of what KC was reminding me of. All these splash plays, Mahomes, razzle-dazzle, running around, and sometimes it catches up to you and you just need to simplify things. And I feel like that's what the Chiefs have got to do moving forward. It's not that the league has figured them out. They just understand that, look, we're going to play a too-high shell. We're just going to sit back and make the Chiefs be patient and have to work down the field. And that's what teams have been doing, in my opinion, defensively, is testing the patience of Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. Go ahead and be essentially a normal offense. Have to run the ball, play action, pick and poke, and kind of work your way down the field. We're not going to give you all these explosive plays, right? And then when they got rid of Tyreek Hill, sent him to Miami in the trade, and, the Chiefs were still very good, obviously, but you lose a little bit of explosiveness, right? Because Tyreek Hill, in my opinion, is kind of one of one, right? The Chiefs still have all-world talent. When you have Mahomes, you have Andy Reid, you have Spagnuolo, you have Eric Bieniemy. Counting out the Chiefs is ludicrous to me, man. And I feel like maybe a big reason is people are just kind of hating on the Chiefs, which, listen, I'm a Ravens fan. I sit back and I'm like, man, the Chiefs get us in the playoffs, right? And the Chiefs, it was like, the Patriots under Brady Belichick. It's like, can we just see some new blood at the top, man? Right? And that's what we saw this past season, right? Broncos, Patriots in the AFC Championship. And maybe that is part of it. But maybe part of it is people are recognizing how good the AFC West has gotten. The Chargers have gotten a lot better, right? I feel like defensively, maybe they're going to suffer a little bit this year, losing Jesse Minter to my Ravens, right? Which is a great hire for us, right? And a big loss for the Chargers. We'll see what they're able to do on the defensive side of the ball. But one thing I do know, I think they're going to have the best offense we've seen since Justin Herbert has been there, right? Jim Harbaugh, Mike McDaniel coming in to be the OC. Like, one of the best offseason moves any team has made this year was somehow the Chargers landing Mike McDaniel to be their offensive coordinator. The genius that he is, especially in the run game, with all this creativity and motion and all these different things and trying to help out Herbert and, the protection. Obviously, they suffered a ton of injuries on the offensive line, especially down the stretch in the season, to where Herbert had to play hero ball. Where McDaniel's going to come in and say, no, we're going to simplify things. We're going to help you out. They got some good young running backs. They got talent at the receiver position, right? The Broncos, obviously, I feel like if Bo Nix doesn't get hurt, I think Denver's heading to the Super Bowl to play the Seahawks. If Bo Nix doesn't get hurt, I think they're in the Super Bowl. Right? But obviously we don't know for sure, but shout out to the Patriots. They got the job done. But man, you got to see the level of play that the Broncos have taken their game to, right? And then acquiring Jalen Waddle, a super explosive playmaker at the receiver position. They got a lot better And Denver's also are already a team that had great defense, right? Sean Payton as the head coach. Brilliant offensive mind. Davis Webb, helping out with the offense. I mean, the Broncos are for real, man. And so are the Chargers and the Raiders. They're not all that far behind. Bringing in Clint Kubiak, Tom Brady, John Spytek. It's a different era with the Raiders. This isn't the same old Raiders, and I've been saying it, man. You bring in Kirk Cousins. You kind of help bring along Fernando Mendoza, not throw him right into the fire, and help build up this young team, continue to add pieces. The Raiders had a really good offseason. And it's only a matter of time, in my opinion, before things start to click for the Raiders. So maybe it's just people kind of hating on the Chiefs, or it's people recognizing how good the AFC West has gotten. And I feel like it's going to be one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL this year. But counting out the Chiefs is absolutely a mistake. You can never count out Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Spagnuolo, Kelsey, Chris Jones, Eric Bieniemy. I believe they bounce back in a big way and make the playoffs this upcoming season.